How do you get all the microphones? No, we have two up here.
And I can share.
Yeah, we can share.
There we go.
We're not starting yet. We're just.
Look, he's running for office.
All right.
Pat, I don't need to share.
Just meet you at the top.
I want to share with Pat anyway. Okay, girls. Simmer down.
All right, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and call the regular city council meeting for Monday, January 26, 2026 to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jody, can I get a roll call, please?
Mayor King,
Here.
Councilwoman Niner,
Here.
Councilman Newberry. Here. Councilman Emo.
Here.
Councilman Doomer. Here.
Quorum being present, if council's had an opportunity to review the agenda as presented, are there any objections to the agenda as presented? Hearing no objections, the agenda is approved by unanimous consent. We have the consent agenda. Does council have any objections to the consent agenda as presented? Hearing no objections, the consent agenda is approved by unanimous consent. Tonight we're going to start with two public hearings. The first one is a voluntary annexation petition, SASSA Trust. So I need a motion to, are we going to open a public hearing for both or each individual one?
Each individual one, please.
Need a motion to open a public hearing for the voluntary annexation petition for SASSA Trust.
I'll make a motion to open, to go into open session, public hearing for voluntary annexation petition SASSA Trust.
I second.
I have a motion, a second to open a public hearing. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Niner,
Yes.
Councilman Newberry.
Yes.
Councilman Emo.
Yes.
Councilman Doomer.
Yes.
All right, we are in a public hearing.
Mayor and Council, what you have before you tonight is a voluntary annexation application that was submitted by SASSA Trust, Steve Zahn, trustee, for a parcel of land out off of 160, no, I'm so sorry. This one is off of Harris Road, out by the city lake. And this did have a notice in the Tribune and Times that ran for the number of days prior to the public hearing.
All right. Do we have an applicant present for this? Does staff have any objections to the annexation?
We don't see any issues. It's contiguous across the street from the existing city limits currently. A map, I think it was page 14 of your packet.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to address council in this public hearing on the petition for voluntary annexation? Does council have any questions?
What does this exactly, I mean, they just are going to be part of Pleasant Hill, I mean, just that simple.
Correct, yes.
All right, if there's no other questions, at this time, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Have a motion, a second to close the public hearing. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Niner,
Yes.
Councilman Newberry,
Yes.
Councilman Emo,
Yes.
Councilman Duma.
Yes.
That public hearing is closed. This time, I will entertain a motion to open a public hearing for a voluntary annexation petition from Steve and Angela Zahn. Do I have a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion to go into public hearing for the voluntary annexation petition of Steve and Angela Zahn.
I'll second.
I have a motion, a second to open a public hearing. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Niner,
Yes.
Councilman Newberry,
Yes.
Councilman Emo,
Yes.
Councilman Duma.
Yes.
All right, in a public hearing, is there anything from staff to add on this one?
I know it's just the second parcel of land. This one is directly south, so it would be at the intersection of Harris Road and 161st Street.
Getting no one from petitioner here. Any comment from the public on this annexation petition? Any questions from council? All right, need a motion to close the public hearing for the voluntary annexation petition of Steve and Angela Zahn.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing of the voluntary annexation petition for Steve and Angela Zahn.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Niner,
Yes.
Councilwoman Newberry,
Yes.
Councilman Emo,
Yes.
Councilman Duma.
Yes.
All right, we're back into regular session. Next item is old business. It's a use tax discussion. The topic of a use tax for this council and previous councils has really been a serious topic of continued discussion since probably before 2023. There is a threshold of voter math, if you want to call it that I have long found to be fairly accurate. I call it the 50-50 rule of votes. On any given ballot topic, there are 25% of voters who will vote yes, 25% of voters who will vote no, regardless of the educational messaging. So really and truly, when you're talking about ballot issues, you're talking about the 50% of undecided voters which decide the success and failure of a use tax or any other ballot issue. In 2024, we had a 32% yes on the use tax. We didn't spend a lot of time doing education about use tax. Majority of our time focused on P1, P2, and P3. So I'll be honest, I felt pretty good that we captured 7% of the undecided voters on that use tax. And I made it pretty clear at that time that we would revisit use tax again as a singular ballot issue in hopes of capturing that other 19% of undecided voters to get our 51% threshold. We've had internal discussions about use tax since that election, and while it may time, I still think it's important to secure that revenue stream for the continued growth of this community. Since our last meeting, the city administrator and I have had some discussions, and at the end of the day, the city administrator has literally had less than 2 weeks in her new role. She has some great ideas as it pertains to use tax, and with that, she asked me that if we could have more time with the use tax, and so we'll move it to a different election cycle. She has addressed it with staff. I believe that everybody on staff understands that this isn't a matter of we had these discussions and now we're not, and it wasted some previous efforts. I believe everybody on staff agrees that this opportunity gives us the opportunity to expand those ideas that we've had. I think council will agree that this can also afford us more time to narrow community desires into a better approach for the greater good. I appreciate the input we've had from the stakeholders in this community. Before I left that meeting of our last one, I had already gotten 6 texts from several residents who supported various aspects of the use tax. But like our own discussion here, there was discussion on how to educate people and how that money could be used. Since then, I've talked with several residents, several organizations, and I know that there are several ways that we can approach this topic. As we move forward, we will further engage the community using a structured top-down approach that's really designed to take us from a strategic vision to a more granular, actionable execution of that plan. It ensures that every small detail remains aligned with our overarching purpose, which should always be a stabilized approach policy, as they call it. It's just not going to be on the April 2026 ballot. So at this time, unless there is objection from council, I believe we are going to not put that on the ballot, and we are going to take a different approach to that with the public engagement. Are there any objections to that from council?
No.
I don't have any objections. I actually think that's probably in the best interest of all of the community.
Really didn't have an argument for Kristen when she brought that to me. I'm just saying that she wants more time, and 2 weeks wasn't enough for her. So, all right. Any objections from the community on not putting it on the ballot? All right. This time, I will open up the floor to public comment. If you would like to address council about something not on the agenda, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
John Self, 205 South Kimball. I'm getting over a cold, I apologize. Last Tuesday, I was having lunch down in the Big Creek Cafe, and 2 young ladies came in pushing a stroller, and they had said that any of the businesses that were open downtown did not have public restrooms, and they were in dire need of a restroom, and they were down there to use the trail. And we did check, there's still a porta potty over at the trailhead, but I wanted to bring that to the attention of all of you so that we can think about ways to increase communication on where they can find basic resources that we do put out for our community. They were very grateful. Big Creek was very gracious, even though they were getting ready to close. The 2 young ladies were able to do what they did, and they went back out and used the trail on a day that was much nicer than today is. But it kind of bothered me, and I don't know why we don't offer public restrooms from businesses downtown. I understand there's a lot of old infrastructure there. They may not have the sewage requirements for that. Maybe it's a cost thing, I don't know. But I did want to bring that to the attention that, you know, maybe just some basic signs or something would help people find that, because if you're using the trail and you're not familiar with our town, if you don't go to the trailhead, you don't know where that is. So just want to bring that up.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
Is the depot open at certain times for the public restrooms?
I know they have been, the chamber area has a public restroom,
It
doesn't it?
does, yeah, so when their office hours are open, then the waiting room area is open. Because the restroom is located in the
chamber, yeah.
I think the waiting room is open more than the office hours.
It is.
Yeah.
And I will say, they needed it for the baby that was in the stroller. So the porta potty that's over there is handy capable, but it's not, it doesn't have a table in it or anything for changing.
Anyone else? All right. Going to move on to public business. First item for consideration is a special event application Farm to Table 2026.
Hi, I am Lisa Hoffman and I own Willow and I'm a board member of the PHHC. This is my partner in crime downtown.
Julie Brown from Brown's Vintage Variety, 117 First Street.
So we're here on behalf of the PHHC and also we're the active directors of the farmers market that happens every Saturday. And then in tandem with that, last year was our first year for the Farm to Table event. So I know you have them listed Farm to Table first, but I thought I would just, if you don't mind, we'll do farmers market because that what we're asking for is the same as last year. The dates changed slightly. We're moving the open date to May 2nd for our vendors, kicking off the plant sale, and then we're going to run all the way through September 26th because we found that our traffic, our customer, and our vendors, everything's winding down into September. We're learning more every year. As we move into Oktoberfest festivals, the vendors move on to that because they get a lot more foot traffic, and then our produce is starting to drop off. So, and also the week of the county fair, we will not have a market then because we know the fairgrounds will require the parking lot. We also are completely aware of the parking lot being paved, and we'll be working around that as well. And the vendors are also informed on that information. So really the biggest thing with that is our market has grown quite a bit from the previous year, so we're excited for this year. But we would just need 2nd Street to have that half closure, just like last year, where it creates that safe pedestrian walkway so people can go from the lot to Gray's lot to the parking lot and back. So that goes basically from about the end of Press Monkey north to where's the lawn chalet? 2nd Street to the stop sign. So we close that off right after our vendors are done setting up around 8:30, and then the market kicks off at 9, and then we wrap up at 12. We get all of our vendors out there within about 15-20 minutes usually, and then we reopen it. And then any business owners, we've had communication already, and I dropped the sign-off sheet with Jody there today. They're completely aware too because they've gone through it last year and we look for them, we monitor that. So if anybody needs inside there, pretty much it's like my neighbor because that's really the only one. I'm already there at 7 a.m. So then we let her in and get it blocked off again when she comes to work. Any of her work covers. So trying to think if there's anything I've left off for you guys. Hopefully you've been to the market.
It was awesome. Several
Yes.
times. It's the same street closures as you had last year.
Yeah, exact same. Nothing's changed on that.
And the vendors are still in the parking lot with the raised lot being.
Like overflow.
Do we have plans if the parking lot that's being paved is not done by May 2nd? Do we have a game plan for that?
We'll just use Gray's lot for our vendors. It's not ideal because the terrain is a little bumpy, but they're aware that we're going to use Gray's lot until the parking lot's available.
So mainly the tents. We know we can't put vehicles on there, so then any of the trucks, we can line those up. We have a plan. We'll work around it, and they're aware of it. It's just a workaround till it's done. And then with that too, I mean, we've communicated this before, so hopefully you guys are aware too. As you do the parking lot, if you keep in mind numbered spaces would be very beneficial for us because we map out. So then we can just assign. We don't have to paint and put markers out there like currently we have to take a paint and paint the dirt. So when you do the parking lot, if you think about assigning parking spot numbers, even if they're just spray painted on the ground or whatever you do, that'd be so helpful to us with our map planning and for our vendors to find their spot. And I pass this along too is, I don't know what you call them, but none of those, we would really prefer we didn't have any of those bumpers. I don't think they're called.
Like
That's what they are, they're bumpers.
Okay.
So that if a vendor has the vehicle with their trailer with a few of them still out of their back of their truck, they don't have to worry about maneuvering around those. It's just a pull through type of situation, if that's possible. I don't know if you've planned out every detail of the parking lot, but it'd be great if you did consider those things. If we want to keep the market going for our community, that would be really helpful.
I'm gonna throw an idea out there. If the parking lot's not done, doing it at the, fairgrounds for a week or two, just so then you're not on Gray's lot.
Well, I mean, we can consider everything. That's actually really difficult for us because we own businesses. And that's pretty difficult for the customers too, because they like being downtown, you know, and it's easier for them to go visit the market, go visit their favorite stores, maybe eat at Big Creek. I see a lot of that. And it's just kind of the idea that this is a community event for them
I
to
get that too. I'm
visit the
just saying
downtown.
we have a great area for a market, so I just thought I'd put it out there for
Sure.
an idea.
Yeah,
Suggestion.
and Graceland's a great area for a market. It's been there before.
It has. But we've also had grass problems and stuff like that too, if it rains too much. And it's spring, so it may rain. So I'm just throwing ideas out there.
So what do we have for farm to table?
Oh, okay. So farm to table, that is the wrap up of our market. So the next day, so Sunday, September 27th is when we'll do our second annual longest table. And that, if you attended last year, that was one long table. It was really amazing, right down First Street. There really aren't any businesses open during that time so far. But we'll still communicate to everyone and make sure that they are aware of it, just like last year. And we would just need to start like around 1, where we would shut off that street 1 o'clock to 9 o'clock, but that's just so we can do all the setup and then the cleaning up and make sure everything's in place before we leave at the end of the night. But the event usually kicks off around 5 p.m., 5 to 7, 7:30, somewhere in there. And of course, that's to celebrate our farmers market vendors. If you're not familiar, we incorporated all of our vendors as many as we could with their product, their produce, their meat. And then we had some of our favorite chefs that had been to our market cooking all that. And then we had this amazing event right down First Street.
And that was a sold-out event, but
Yeah.
I was thinking it was.
Yeah.
Because I tried to get tickets for that.
Yeah. You have to be fast.
Yeah, I waited way too late to do that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Do we have a fee for Gray's Lot, since that's, I'm sure they would probably get it waived or anything, but I didn't know if we had, like,
I do not believe we actually have a fee established for Gray's Lot on our current fee schedule. I'll double check that while you all discuss, but I do not believe it's on there.
All right, talked about both, but the first special event application was the Farm to Table 2026 for Sunday, September 27th, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve the special events application?
I'll make a motion to approve the special events application for Farm to Table. I second.
I have a motion and a second for the special events application. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Reiner,
Yes.
Councilman Newberry,
yes.
Councilman Emo,
Yes.
Councilman Hume.
Yes.
The next special events application is the Farmers Market, which will run from May 2nd to September 26th. We've already had comment from the applicant. Is there any questions from council on that event?
Do we know when they're anticipating they're going to be paving that parking lot?
We'll start as soon as the weather permits. As far as I understood.
They were saying.
Yeah, as soon as the weather breaks, they're supposed to begin grading, and it's supposed to, I forget the date, it's supposed to be.
I think it's the end of April. I think it was a 60-day.
We put a cutoff right at the end of April.
I can also look that up too.
Well, no, that's all right. It just,
But yes, that was
it's going to interfere no matter.
not necessarily. Our goal is to be done before the beginning of May. So I have to go back and see what that contract deadline was. Obviously, there's allowances in there for weather though, but I can look to see what it is. But initially, it was, I mean, our intent is to have it done
Because what is their turnaround time? I forgot, I know we looked at.
60 days.
Okay.
Just to comment on that, is the May 2nd date is, consider it like kind of a soft launch. It is mainly focused around a plant sale, which the last time we did that was completely in Gray's Lot. So that's something to consider. If the paving of the parking lot goes a little bit longer, that first week is really just kind of a plant sale. That's easy to work around.
As long as the weather holds out, I don't see any delays, but it's all gonna be weather dependent.
And we do not have a line item in our fee schedule for Gray's Lot.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the special events application for the farmer's market for 2026?
I'll make a motion to approve the special event application for the farmer's market 2026.
I second.
A motion and a second, roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Reiner?
Yes.
Councilman Newberry?
Yes.
Councilman Emo?
Yes.
Councilman Dewey?
Yes.
Passes. Before I move on to the next one, back to the farmer's market and historic district. How many vendors do you guys typically have for each one,
Well,
typically?
We had like 90 to 100 on the roster.
Yeah,
And then I think our biggest market was around
40, 45.
almost 50. I think, 40, 45. And then our smallest last year, I think it was around 28, which was our biggest the previous year. So.
We're growing.
And we did have to, we actually did a cutoff because we really couldn't accept any more applications after a while. It was just getting to be too much, you know. Because we're volunteers.
If an opportunity were to exist for vendors to have access to a monthly event at the fairgrounds in the evenings from like May to October, do you have vendors that would possibly be
Are
interested?
you saying in lieu of the?
No.
No, in addition to.
In addition,
I think that would be a better question for them, but from what I would gather, they like to be done on a Saturday and they're moving on back to their farms and working. Now, some of them might want to. I don't know what you're thinking about.
I didn't know if you had to like turn vendors away because you were full.
Well, that was part of it. Some of it was just
Too many
becoming.
duplicates,
Yeah.
like, we don't need more than 6 meat vendors. So when we get more meat vendors, I tell them no. Because
Getting to the end of the season and it was a lot of like duplicate craft items and we didn't want to be heavily craft when we wanted to try to keep it more balanced, a very balanced market. I mean, that was the new struggle this year, was really making sure we had a good balance because we had so many, which is a good problem to have. You might have some interest in that, but from what I gathered from the vendors on a Saturday, they'd probably like us to start it even earlier, I think, but, you know.
I would too.
We potentially have an event that will occur once a month at the fairgrounds, but it would be evening.
It's
So
a month thing, yeah. I mean, we could
I didn't know if
definitely
you'd have
drop
any
them and
vendors that would
encourage
be
them.
interested in that. We're way early in discussions, but
Yeah.
there is a potential.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome if they're interested, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure they want to make more money, you know?
You have a list of vendors, so that was a good place to start.
Totally.
So, all right. Next item is Bill 26-03, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Pleasant Hill, Missouri, accepting public infrastructure improvements for Hickory Hill Subdivision Phase 6.
Thank you, sir. So this is the final step in acceptance of Hickory Hills Phase 6. The final plat was originally granted approval by both planning and zoning and the city council in September 9th of 2019. Construction began on the infrastructure in approximately 2020. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact time frame of that. There were some delays with the completion of that infrastructure. It was finally completed, inspected, and approved by both Tony, our Public Works Director, and Public Water District Number 5 in November of this year. At this time, the city staff has received all maintenance bonds as required, as-built drawings, inspections and approvals have been given for final acceptance for the infrastructure that was installed. So this is new infrastructure just for Hickory Hills Phase 6. Today, we also did receive the covenants and restrictions. And Nick, I'm sorry, I'm going to say your last name wrong, from Mr. Swazik. That was close to So those will be filed as well as the final plat if the acceptance is given this evening by City Council.
Any questions on this bill by council? Anyone from the public like to comment on this bill before city council takes action? All right. Do I have a motion on Bill 26-03, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Pleasant Hill, Missouri, accepting public infrastructure improvements for Hickory Hills Subdivision Phase 6?
I'll make a motion to approve Bill 2603, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Pleasant Hill, Missouri, accepting public infrastructure improvements for Hickory Hills Subdivision Phase 6.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second on Bill 26-03. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Niner,
Yes.
Councilwoman Newberry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Emom,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dean.
Yes.
All right. Next item is Bill 26-04, approval of services contract with G7 Construction LLC for curb improvements.
Thank you, Mayor. We advertised for bidding on curb replacement and additional new curbs to be put in the city. And we received 9 bids, and the lowest bid came in at $54,920. So our recommendation is to hire G7 Construction from here in Pleasant Hill to do the curbing replacement project.
Does anyone from council have questions for Tony on this contract?
I have one. I noticed on the bid selections, they were quite a bit lower. Is there a reason why they were so low?
I think some of these were from quite a ways away. We actually had a bidder, I think, from the Springfield area. I don't think they understood the whole entire scope. Trying with G7, they called and asked me questions regarding it. We discussed it. I really got very few other questions from other people. So I think there might have been some confusion from the other contractors. But yeah, that was a concern, but we went through everything and it's a solid bid, which was pretty close to the estimated linear foot price that I had come up with prior to.
And how did you pick which streets and curbs and that are getting fixed first?
Based on complaints, drive-around inspections, stormwater improvements, stuff like that.
Any other questions?
No, I was just looking over the locations, but I'm good.
Yeah, it's kind of scattered throughout town.
Where's Lincoln Street? That's the only street I'm not sure I'm familiar with.
Lincoln is over by Maple, that little park.
Oh, I
that's
know
over
where
in
you're
that
at.
corner
Okay.
there.
All right. Anyone from the public want to address council on Bill 26-04 before council takes action?
I do. My name is Jessica Elliott. I live at 217 North Campbell. And I'm just wondering, I was looking at the packet, is this an annual improvement project?
We have different curb and sidewalk improvement projects that we do.
I'm asking because I saw last year we did some curb improvements in last year's budget, and then this year we did. And I'm just wondering if we're just gonna be doing parts of them, is it gonna be ongoing?
I believe there will be ongoing curb improvements.
Okay, and then how does this particular, as far as the budget goes, it's funded from the transportation fund?
These are from Public Works. He has different budgets through, so it would be from different components in his budget.
Thank you.
All right. No further questions? Do I have a motion on Bill 26-04?
I'll make a motion to approve bill number 26-04 for approval of services contract with G7 Construction LLC for curb improvements.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second on Bill 26-04, approval of services contract with G7 Construction LLC for curb improvements. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Niner,
Yes.
Councilman Newberry,
Yes.
Councilman Emo,
Yes.
Councilman Dumer.
Yes.
Bill passes. Next item is Bill number 26-05, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an engineering services agreement with Allstate Consultants LLC for preliminary engineering services for the Lexington Road sidewalk project.
Thank you, Mayor. What you have in front of you is an engineering services agreement for our TEEP project that was previously awarded from MoDOT. The agreement actually has been reviewed and approved by MoDOT, which is a step in that process, and it's now here in front of you for your consideration.
Any questions from council to staff on this bill?
No.
Is there anyone from the public like to address council on Bill 26-05 before council takes action on this bill? All right, do I have a motion for Bill number 26-05, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the engineering services agreement with Allstate Consultants LLC for preliminary engineering services for the Lexington Road sidewalk project?
I'll make a motion to approve bill number 26-05, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an engineering services agreement with Allstate Consultants LLC for preliminary engineering services for the Lexington Road sidewalk project.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for bill number 26-05. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Niner,
Yes.
Councilwoman Newberry,
Absolutely, yes.
Councilwoman Emo, Councilman Dumer.
Yes.
All right. Make sure you put a couple extra explanations. She was very adamant about that. All right, the next two bills are going to be on the public hearing we held earlier. First one is Bill number 26-06, a proposed ordinance annexing certain adjacent territory into the city of Pleasant Hill, Missouri.
Thank you, Mayor. So what you do have in front of you is the ordinance that would annex certain adjacent territory into the city. The annexation application from the trust was received on November 26th of 2025. Public notice for this hearing that was held earlier this evening was published in the Tribune and Times on January the 15th of 2026. To date, no public comments have been received. The parcel meets the requirements of being contiguous with the existing city limits. So staff does recommend the approval of bill number 26-06.
Any questions from council? Although we had a public hearing, I'll go ahead and open up. If anybody from the public would like to comment on Bill 26-06, you can do so now at this time. All right. Do I have a motion for Bill 26-06 to proposed ordinance annexing certain adjacent territory into the city of Pleasant Hill, Missouri?
I'll make a motion for bill number 26-06, a proposed ordinance annexing certain adjacent territory into the city of Pleasant Hill, Missouri.
I'll second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Niner,
Yes.
Councilman Newberry,
Yes.
Councilman Emo,
Yes.
Councilman Dumer.
Yes.
Next item, Bill 26-07, proposed ordinance annexing certain adjacent territory into the city of Pleasant Hill, Missouri.
Thank you, Mayor. This is basically the exact same. The application was received on the same date of November the 26th. Public hearing, or public notice was in the paper on January the 15th. To date, no public comments have been received, and the parcel does meet the requirements contiguous with the existing city limits.
Questions from council? Anyone from the public like to speak on this bill before council takes action? All right, do I have a motion for bill number 26-07, proposed ordinance annexing certain adjacent territory into the city of Pleasant Hill, Missouri?
I'll make a motion to approve bill number 2607, proposed ordinance annexing certain adjacent territory into the city of Pleasant Hill, Missouri.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Niner,
Yes.
Councilwoman Newberry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Emo,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dean.
Yes.
Mayor, can I just add something? So for anybody that might have seen the public notices, there was a third parcel that came in for a voluntary annexation directly to the west of the parcel that you just approved. So the notice was in the paper. However, before the public hearing, they actually came in and signed an affidavit withdrawing their annexation application. It was something to do with their family and their trust. I'm not exactly sure. They had to redo something. So again, just so that anybody, if it looks suspicious that there was a third public notice in the paper that did not come before you tonight, it is because they followed all those steps and withdrew their application before tonight's meeting.
Before we move on, anything for council, Kristen?
No, I don't have anything further to say.
Anything from council?
I don't think so.
All right.
No, I don't think so.
All right, we have no closed session business. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? We're adjourned. That is business.